right, welcome to One Nation of Sports Locker Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to make this a very short program because I know many of you are wanting to watch the National Basketball Championship for the NCAA men's tournament. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about some March Madness. You know, we're we're seeing that the month of March is over, but the madness is continuing on. One of the things that we see that takes place every season, going from like recently the winter sports into spring, you have kids that are transitioning from one sport to another, and they have to step right into the conditioning and then jump right into competition really pretty quickly. And it's quite interesting to be able to see these student athletes be able to transition into the different sports through different seasons. I'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute, but I do want to talk about we've had some recent championships take place in March Madness. We had the women's NIT tournament, and Buffalo beat Troy 88 to 84. That was a really close ball game and quite a tough competition between the two of those teams. Then we also see that Tulsa was beaten 92 to 86 by Auburn in the men's NIT tournament. Now, many people would consider these secondary tournaments, and they are, but they are still highly competitive, and the teams that are competing, they're giving the student athletes an opportunity to compete a little bit more, and so it's good for basketball fans to see a lot of basketball. So congratulations to Buffalo as well as to Auburn for winning the NIT tournaments. Also, congratulations to UCLA Bruins women's basketball team for winning this year's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. They defeated South Carolina. I mean, they literally defeated them, blew them out. It was 79 to 51, and the game was it was never really close. And so it was a good basketball game, and the women just put on display a great game plan from UCLA to defeat the South Carolina Gamecocks women basketball team. So that means tonight is the men's NCAA championship for basketball. We've gone from the 64 teams and we're down to two, and that is Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines, and the UConn Huskies. It's a number one seed Michigan versus a number two seed UConn. It will be a great game. There's a lot of talent on both sides. There's good defenses. There's great coaching. So it should be a really good game tonight. My personal pick, I think that Michigan's going to win. My team's not in there. I'm sure many of your teams are not in there, but I'm just going to choose Michigan to win their game tonight. And I think it's going to be a tight ball game. We've seen a lot of blowouts in a lot of the other games, but I think this one will be a tight ball game. Also, we talking about transition from one sport to another. That's what happens in the sports world. We also have the NBA season winding down. There is literally 1 week left, and then they will begin the playoffs. And there's a lot of teams that are still vying for the top spots in their conferences, and you have some real threats to win the championship, and then you have some pretenders. Obviously on the Eastern side, you've got Detroit. They've been leading that conference all year long, but Boston, since they're one of their star players from St. Louis, who has been absolutely an amazing ball player for them, they are right back in the mix of it, and they're right now number two in the East. So I'm seeing it between Detroit and the Celtics, and I'm thinking the Celtics are going to end up getting on top of the Eastern Conference. Jason Tatum from St. Louis, I think he is coming back. He was injured all of last year. He's coming back, and he's going to do an outstanding job just trying to fit back in and get that team back up to championship form, just like they were a few years ago. On the other side, the Western Conference, we've got two teams that are standing above everybody else: Oklahoma City Thunder, last year's champions, and also a team that has been on the rise and will continue to be on the rise because they have the tallest player, one of the tallest players in the NBA, and he's so talented, Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. So The Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, those are kind of the two that should be at the top. You still have possibilities of some other teams like the Denver Nuggets. You know, they're recent champions, but I kind of think they're more of a pretender this year. I don't think they would be able to get through a 7 game series in the championship, as well as the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets really loaded up this past year. Um, with Kevin Durant and several to go along with several of their other players to try to go to the next level, but it just hasn't panned out for them. Other Golden State Warriors right now, they're currently number 10 in the Western Conference, so they've got to win 2 games just to even be able to get into the playoff. So Steph Curry's come back from basically 2 months off. I don't see him being able to lift them to where they need to be, but you never know. He can get hot, and 3-point wise, he's phenomenal. So we'll look to see what happens there. Baseball. Baseball has started, and we are now almost at 10 games for both the Royals and the Cardinals, and both teams are, they're battling, and it's interesting that right now the Cardinals are in 4th place in the National League Central with a record of 5-4, and right ahead of them they've got Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. The Cubs are behind them in 5th place in that division. I don't know what the year looks like. St. Louis has played some good ball games. They've won some really good ball games, and they've lost some really bad ball games. So it's just kind of hard to tell where they're at. They're young in some different positions. They've got a few exciting players. So we're looking at how they're going to finish out just even in this first part of the year before the All-Star break, just to kind of see whether they are. Are they going to be buying or selling at the deadline, the trade deadline? So we'll see how that goes. The Royals, they have a worse record than the Cardinals right now at 4-5, but they're second in the American League Central. They're right close in there, so they're they're not too far from first place at this moment. Just a few games back, but I think they've got some potential. We'll just have to see how their pitching goes, and as they can try to gel together. And again, we're going to see whether they're going to be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. The NFL draft, guys, that's going to be coming up right here at the end of April, and there's a lot going on with the Chiefs in the offseason. They have been literally doing a whole bunch of different things. The most significant thing I think that they did was that they drafted Kenneth Walker from the Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker was the MVP of the Super Bowl, running back. And the Chiefs have struggled at running back for many, many years. I mean, I can almost go back to Jamal Charles when we last had a dominant impact running back. We spent a little money to bring him to Kansas City, but I think they determined that we really needed to have somebody that was going to be able to give us another option so that defenses had to play a little bit more up in the box, and that they were, having to respect our run as well. And Kenneth Walker is going to be able to add to that. Of course, they're still having some draft needs possibly on the offensive line, but it's not as bad of a situation as what it, kind of seems like. We removed our right tackle. We didn't bring him back, and we'll see what happens there. They may draft there, they may trade there. We have a backup that we had from last year that right now they have in that position, and we'll see what he does. Of course, Mahomes is rehabbing. I've seen video recently of him out doing a 5-6 step drop back and throwing the ball. So he was working on getting some throws in and trying to get some timing down. He came off a major surgery, but his plan is to try to start on opening day. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, Travis Kelce, he re-signed, and it's exciting to have him back. I thought he played pretty well last year. The year before, it looked like he had dropped off pretty significantly, but last year he really honed in, and he did a good job of getting in shape and coming back. Last year's team really looked like it was going to be able to take that step up. They appeared to be better to me than they were the prior year when they lost in the Super Bowl, but things just fell apart. A lot of close games. one game after another fell, and eventually we were out of the playoffs. And then when Mahomes went down, we were for sure out of the playoffs. Um, we have Rashee Rice. There's no charges being brought against him for domestic um, crimes, and so we will see how all of that plays out. Of course, we still have a big issue as far as wide receivers, and we are looking for those impact wide receivers that Mahomes can. That's just the go-to guy. Kelsey has been the go-to guy for so many years. Rice appeared to be stepping into that, but he's been so unstable outside of football. And if we can get him to just get in there, focus on football, and do his best to be a good human being outside of football, then there would be a lot of good opportunities for this offense and him in it. Uh, Kyrie's Tonga is on the defensive line, hopefully being able to give us some help with Chris Jones stopping the run right there in the middle. He came over from the runner-up in the Super Bowl, the New England Patriots, so we were able to pull him in. We lost a few players. Trent McDuffie, we lost him, and he went to the Rams. We got some draft picks. So, that's one of the things that we got to look at is that we lost a really quality all pro cornerback. But the Chiefs are so good at developing cornerbacks. It's pretty exciting to see what Dave Merritt's going to do with the next group of cornerbacks that are coming in. We have a few uh, people that we brought in through the free agency, but I think they're going to look at adding depth and possibly being able to find some quality cornerbacks in the draft. Again, that's coming up on April 23rd through 25th. So many different parts moving in the Chiefs this year, and trying to get back to the level of respect that they had before. I'm just excited because we have had several years now of great Chiefs football. I'm excited for them to get back to that, but I'm also very appreciative that we've had that opportunity. Other teams can't say that, and for the longest time, we were not able to say that as Kansas City Chiefs fans. I can remember all of the quarterbacks that we had coming in, and it was just one disappointment after another. I can remember that we got a quarterback back during the time of Elway and Marino and all those guys, and our guy came in, and I don't want to name him by name just because, I mean, he did his best. He's a really good announcer right now, but that was a very short bust, and it was very frustrating as a Chiefs fan. Here we thought we had a great draft pick, and it just didn't work out. And then of course we had other quarterbacks like Elvis Grbac, Steve Gannon. Of course we trade Gannon away and then the very next year he became an All-Pro and outstanding quarterback for the Raiders. That was just kind of the frustration there. We had several other quarterbacks. Of course, we had Joe Montana came in for a little bit, and we got to the AFC Championship game, and that was exciting. But boy, it's been good over the recent years. I got some friends that are some Raiders fans. They're pretty excited about having the number one pick and getting Fernando Mendoza, as well as making some moves in free agency. I think they're going to be excited about that. Right now, it still looks like the Denver Broncos are the one to beat in the AFC West. Um, I think that they increased um, their ability to get back to the AFC Championship game. Added a really good receiver in Jalen Waddle from the Miami Dolphins. So the Chiefs, we got to make some really good draft picks and solidify the team roster, and we'll see what happens from there. Going to finish up real quick with the high school sports and transitioning, student athletes going from basketball and into track or golf or, whatever the sports may be, going from wrestling into track or, golf or whatever the student athletes are doing transitioning. There is a level of determination. There's a level of ability that these kids have to have in order to be able to move from one sport to another. Each sport requires different movements, different strengths, different abilities. And we've got some great coaches right here in mid-Missouri, and they do an outstanding job of coaching these kids up. And they really make sure that they are prepared. They make sure that they're prepared through weight training, conditioning, all the mental aspect of it, and then of course coaching them up to be able to hit the highest level of performance that they can. And real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to our coach of the issue. Big Whiskies is our sponsor for that, and our coach of the issue for this past February March issue is Joseph Collier of Capital City, and just an outstanding man, outstanding football coach. We're excited to have him here in Mid-Missouri, as well as all of our other coaches. We just want to thank Big Whiskies for recognizing them and making sure that uh, we give credit where credit is due, and we want to just pay our respects to these men and women who coach our kids and spend all their time pouring into them, whether it's mentoring, teaching, encouraging, being there with them when times are good and times are bad, dealing with parents, dealing with officiating, dealing with administrations. They've got a lot on their plates, and I just really respect everything that they do. And we want to thank Big Whiskies for recognizing them. All right, and also let's just give a quick shout out to our other sponsor, CNS Employment Solutions.
Job searching doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Imagine working with people who actually know your name, your skills, and what you're looking for, not just your resume file. At CNS Employment Solutions, we help connect job seekers with employers who are ready to hire, right here in Central Missouri. It's guidance, it's clarity, it's choices. And that's real conversations instead of radio silence. If you're looking for a more personal and streamlined path to your next job opportunity, CNS is here to help.
And we want to thank CNS Employment Solutions along with Big Whiskies for their sponsorship of this program, as well as Sports Locker Magazine. Make sure that you let them know that you appreciate them supporting our student athletes right here in Mid-Missouri. All right. That's pretty much all I want to cover for tonight. I want to let you get to the rest of your evening, and I wanted to just take a quick minute to just walk through the madness. And you know, the cool thing is that sports are a constant changing, evolving events right here in Mid-Missouri, as well as all across the nation and across the world. People all over the place are, you know, they love sport, they love competing, they love watching, and we just want to give you appreciation for all of your support, and you're taking the time to spend with us here on a Monday night, as well as taking the time to recognize our student athletes and show appreciation through Sports Locker Magazine. All right, I'm your host, Kirk DeMars of One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra. Thank you for joining me tonight, and until next week, I will see you then, and God bless you.